What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of NATAL Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be taking a look at Mars in the fourth house and what it's like to have Mars in the fourth house in your astrological natal chart. So, let's get into it. And before we get into it, if you haven't or if you would like to join my Patreon, you can do so now because I have more in-depth lessons there regarding different things that I teach. So for example, this Mars in the fourth is a general, my perspective of this placement and how I've seen it play out. But in my Patreon, I'll be exploring planets in the fourth house through a particular type of lens. So if you're interested in that, more in-depth content, you can feel free to click the link and join the Patreon. So getting into it, Mars. What is Mars in astrology? Mars is the planet of energy, action, willpower, our inner and outer defense, our ability to get things done, our sense of motivation, drive, all of that. The fourth house is the house of home. It's the house of our family, our connection with mother, okay? Our emotional instincts and experiences that have shaped us in that regard. So first thing you need to know about this position is that Mars is a malefic. And wherever Mars goes, it will, because of its natural nature as a malefic, bring about malefic events. Depending on the house and the sign and all of that, it'll differ. But its malefic influence here in the fourth house starts early on in childhood. This can really represent someone who is possibly born into a chaotic environment, right? Argumentative family. On the next hand, it can represent being born into a family where there's a lot of people around, okay? So this Mars could be representing energy and action in the home. And then naturally, we know how it is if you got siblings or you've been around family where there's loved ones, there's emotion, and then, conflict, right? So with this position, it is one where for the lifetime, one's most source of conflict is always going to be connected towards the home life, family. And in my exploration of like working with others with this position, they always ask, am I doomed? Can I escape this? Okay, what if I don't have children? Will this, make it better? And ultimately, this is why I like, provide this perspective. Astrology kind of just shows you like it's energy, and we're seeking to learn or get in alignment with our energy. So close examination of your Mars and the aspects it's making, and particularly the difficult aspects, are really going to give you that understanding of how the conflict comes about and why. And ultimately, it forces you to have to learn lessons within these regards. So I always like to tell people, it's like, if you look for problems, there are going to be problems. When you get to an acceptance of like shit happens that I have to deal with, and that's the nature of Mars. Mars, it's a soldier, it's a fighter. It wants problems to solve. It kind of makes it easier to deal with that, okay? So can be born into a chaotic or malefic environment. Going further into that, you will want to evaluate the relationship between your parents. What did you witness? Okay, what was the energy in that environment between mom and dad? Whether man or woman, this has its seeds within how you deal with conflict or issues within the home life, okay? So it's very possible that there's a wound connected to one of the parents, okay? And this wound could just be, it can result from feeling not wanted, not appreciated. And then this is really where the sign that the Mars is in is going to tell you. And let me give an example. Let's say we got Mars and Gemini in the fourth house. And then let's say you have someone with like a Cancer moon, right? And it goes into the fifth house. This is someone who, they need attention. They need attention. Now, that Cancer moon can indicate that they did get attention, or they were supported to some extent, right? But the Mars in the fourth house in Gemini could represent having to share the attention with siblings, okay? And as that as that moon in Cancer person gets older, and the dynamic, depending on how the parent deals with that, they may grow to feel like, oh, one sibling got more attention, always got more attention than me, or got put before me. Well, when you really evaluate, it could just be like, no, you may have just wanted more attention than you were able to get. So there's like a sibling rivalry in that way, perceptually, okay? Going a little bit deeper, you have scenarios where you feel like your mother or parent doesn't like you, or that they clearly favor another over you, and that can be connected to a myriad of different reasons. Okay, so conflict, or feeling wounded by a particular parent, or the home life scenarios. So all types of trauma connected to early upbringing can be connected to this position. One thing, other alignments will need to match up. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm doing a reading for someone's child and I feel like, okay, there may be something to pay attention, you may have to watch your children around others, right? Not to say it will occur, but I want to give you an example. Like Mars in the fourth house in like Libra or Aquarius, that this could indicate spending lots of time with other family members, even in childhood, or let's say mom's working a lot or whatever. That's traumatic, and other traumatic things can stem from that. Okay, moving along with Mars here in the fourth, career wise, it's normally you either have the influence of knowing what you want to do because there's a solid foundation from home, whether it be mom or dad who has a business or has something for you to learn early on that gives you a sense of direction, or the Mars in the fourth house just feels like fucking lost. If it's a dude, there's lots of insecurities regarding masculinity and the ability to be a breadwinner or take charge in particular things. For women, it's kind of that trying to find a balance between being a professional as well as having one's relationship needs met. So being a mom, being a wife, all of those things. But the sign really is going to, the sign and the depositor of that sign is really going to give us an understanding of how well this Mars can operate. But as I'm going to explore going further, like in other lessons, a lot of stuff connected to the fourth house is with learned behavior. So like I said, when it comes to finding your purpose, or even becoming career oriented, knowing how to work this Mars, how you spend those early years are going to be very, very important. So how it'll go is like Mars, let's say this Mars is in Scorpio or Pisces here in the fourth. It really doesn't like, because remember, fourth house is the original water house. So Mars is like, get me out of here. So if you can get into other elements in this position, it gives it more of a chance. But let's say we're in like Scorpio or Pisces. How it'll go is like this kid might be isolated in child. They may not get the proper playtime or feel like they fit in. But let's say you having the awareness, I would tell someone, put this child in many activities. They need to, especially if it's like a boy or something, they need to be around others to get influence from that masculine energy, or know how to deal with conflict or be aggressive. So this speaks to a bigger thing, and especially with kids being born these days, it doesn't matter about technology. It doesn't matter how you feel about the environment. And granted, we're coming off of like school shootings and stuff like that, but kids need to be outside and they need proper social integration. And Mars here in the fourth it can represent being isolated and not knowing how to display that will. Okay, so it's like a double-edged sword. Exposing this kid to other kids, they might get picked on. There might be conflict. But ultimately, there's lessons there that they learn that help them in the long run. This position gets better with time. Some other things connected towards this natural abilities and ways of Mars finding this niche is things of the home. So interior design, real estate, particularly if you have an opposition to the 10th house or some other type of salesman position or aspect, a good Mercury, this could definitely indicate real estate and lots of conveniences, being a car salesman. I'll add this too before we go. What I found, there's a trick with this position. I'm not gonna like reveal it because it's up this for Mars and Cancer people, Mars and fourth people. There's something towards this position that it's a code. If you can figure it out and crack it about how you operate, because the Mars is emotionally based, you can turn this position from being debilitated into like the opposite, right? Like saying getting a really old car to run like new. Okay, or get something to go over its expectations. And the hint here is that it's related towards the fourth house is a house of convenience, security. Mars is a soldier. It needs direction. It needs like, what's the goal? What's the mission, right? Is it protect the home? Okay, how am I gonna protect the home? Is it protect the family? What I'm trying to get as a hint, you want Mars it needs something to fight for. And in the fourth house, it naturally doesn't know what that is. But if it's different to every individual, that real source. And you won't just find it in that position. You have to really look at your whole chart and be real with yourself too. But it's definitely one where it can turn, struggle into immense strength. All right, I'm parking here. All right, so this is a little bit about Mars in the fourth house. Hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to chime in. Let me know, how it is for you. If you need a reading, check my website. Hit me up. We'll set something up. Until next time, peace.